Hi everyone, it's Bev DeBono, and we are doing borders. Yay! I love borders, but a lot of times when we punch out our borders, we always use our borders at the top of our pages, the bottom of our pages, and we do them in like a straight line, and that's fine, and that's wonderful. But let's jazz it up a little bit. And we're going to make a couple different borders. You can use whatever border punches or border maker cartridges you have. Okay, and I'm going to give you measurements that are for these specific ones, but so many times it depends on um, what we call the repeat in your pattern. You know, like the whale tail repeat, you see it's smaller than the repeat on the cars, the road trip one. And it's also smaller than the repeat on the garland banners. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to start with, oh, I got it in my hand. Let's start with whale tails. And again, you can use any border punch that you have. It is easier if you use a chain style, and a chain style one is one that when you punch it, it just comes off as a complete piece, just like this. It's like a chain all connected. But the whale tails is not a chain style, and we can still use that. So I'm going to show you that one first. Okay, so for the whale's tails, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select some papers, and I'm going to use, this is so funny because we got these beautiful packs of scenery papers, beach scenes and desert scenes, and some of them have sold out already, mountain scenes. So I really liked, because I'm from Hawaii, I really liked the beach scenes, and I always tend to gravitate towards the beach scenes. So bear with me, but we are going to use some of the papers from beach scenes for the whale tails borders. Okay, I'm also going to be using 12-inch trimmer, and I love a decorative blade. Oops, that was connected. I love a decorative blade, and so I'm going to choose Colonial. I love the Colonial blade. If you don't have that, you can use a Victorian, you can use a Wave. Um, something that has a nice edge to it. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to punch two whale's tails. All right, and I'm going to select from the beach patterns here. I'm going to select this that has a little bit of a navy blue pattern. And I'm also going to be using the stickers from that, a border sticker. So this one, I'm actually going to add that to the bottom of the whale there, the whale tail, just to kind of ground it and give it a little bit of a different look. Okay, so we need to punch two of the whale tail borders. You can punch whatever ones you want, but I'm going to show you this one specifically. We're going to do three borders actually, so three different ones. Okay, so I make sure that I line my paper up to the line that's marked on the punch itself. So Creative Memories is between the two little black lines. You line your first paper up to the line. And then once you have your first punch, you are now going to match the punched piece to the picture that's on the shelf of the punch. And then you'll continue punching all the way along. Okay, so you can make two borders from this, but in the interest of time, I'm going to do one of each, just so that I can move along. So I'm just punching these. And now you see this whale one is not a chain style. So it stays connected here. Okay, so it's staying connected to the bottom here. Okay, and that's okay because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my colonial blade. Okay, and it's all going to depend on the size of your punch and your pattern. All right, and I'm going to punch this at, I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. And how do I determine that? I turn it to the side, I line it up on my trusty mat here, and I can see on my 2 inches where that's going to be when I have the tip top of the whale tail, okay, the tip top of the whale tail on my mat. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it up so you can see the tip top of the whale tail on my mat here. And then I just line up my ruler just to see where 2 inches is going to be. And then I know that I want to place a sticker underneath it to ground it. So I know that in order to allow for the sticker here, I'm going to need to make this a 2 inch. Okay, so I'm going to change my blade. I'm taking out my straight blade and I'm going to put in my colonial blade, which is one of my new favorites. Currently on back order, but will be back very, very soon. And I am placing the tip top of the whale tail at 2 inch mark. Okay, so you only have to do these, you only have to do this when they're attached. Okay, and with the colonial blade, you see I get this really nice edge. So it's not a straight edge, it's got a little bit of a design to it, and I really like that. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sticker from, and you can use any sticker. I just happened to get that one. I could even use this one if I wanted to. I just thought that the seashells and the starfish might show up just a little bit better. Okay, and I'm just going to line it up. In order to do this so that it doesn't make a big mess, I just put one edge of the sticker on my hand there. Okay, and then I move my hand so that I now have it in my between my thumb and my finger. And now this way I have a better grasp of it so that it's not just floating around and sometimes it can get stuck, and then when you try to lift it up, oh my gosh, what a mess, like I just did now. I just made a little mess. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay. And now I have my border on my whale tail. And now I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to cut it to a repeat here. Okay, so this whale tail, when I look at it again on my mat, and I use my mat for a lot of things, it's about 2.5 inches, but I think I'm going to cut it to 2.25, just so that I have a little bit extra. All right, and so switch your blade back to your straight blade. All right, I'm going to cut my whales to 2.25. All right, sometimes the easiest way to do this is to go all the way down to the bottom. And what I'm doing is I'm just looking for a natural break here. On the whale tail, the natural break on the repeat happens to be right here at this little hump. So I'm going to cut it right there on that little hump. Okay, and because I don't trust myself with the scissors to cut it straight, I'm going to use my trimmer. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way to the bottom, put it at the first one I'm going to cut right in between that. So I have my first cut, and then I'm going to line it up to 2.25 and then cut it from there. Okay, and I'm just going to cut the rest of them at 2.25. And I may have to do the same thing with the one on the other side. Sometimes the repeat is a little bit bigger. You could do this at 2.5, I guess. See, and I'm just lining it up. Put it here so you can see it better. Oh, my whale tails. Okay, 2.25. Up again, I see, so it's not exactly evenly spaced because this is like a 2.25 inch repeat and we have a 12 inch. So that's why I have to cut off a little bit. So I'm going to go back to the natural divide here and cut it where that hump is. And then I'm going to go to 2.25. There we go. Okay, so now you can make your base behind this also 2.25, so that it will go directly onto, um, it will line up side to side. Okay, but because the whale tails sometimes extend past where I've cut it, I've made the base just a little bit bigger. So again, each punch is going to be a little different. Okay, so my inner base is going to be 2.5 inches by 11.5. The inner base is what I'm going to put the whale tails on. Okay, so that is going to be 2.5 by 11.5. And then what I'm going to put this on is going to be the back base is going to be the 2.75 by 12. Okay, and these are all papers from that beautiful beach pack. Okay, so my inner base, 2.5 by 11.5. I'm going to go back to the colonial blade, okay, because I just like the way that it looks and it continues that edge that I'm using on the whale tail bottom. I'm continuing that edge along the sides. Okay, so to start, you always have to start with a 1/2 inch off so that you can start your decorative blade. Okay, start at a 1/2 inch, and I just use 1/2 inch because I love to work with 1/2 inch strips, and this is something that you can do a lot with a 1/2 inch strip. So I just tend to gravitate towards 1/2 inch strips. And once you have your starting point, then we're going to go back and cut that at 2.5. Okay, 2.5. Okay, and then I'm going to make this at 11.5 just because I want to have a little bit of the bottom base showing through top and bottom. Okay, so that means I'm going to cut 1/4 inch on both top and bottom. And the 1/4 inch is at the very end of your gray mat strip here. It's at the very end of the gray mat strip. And I'm keeping my colonial blade in there. Okay. So while I have my trimmer out, I'm going to cut the orange base at the same time. Switch back to your straight blade. And now this one is going to be 2.75 by 12. 2.75 by 12. Okay, this way I have it all done. Okay, and now we're ready just to assemble. I find it easier to assemble the borders first. Let me move this out of the way. I'll move this up just so I can get my silicone mat here. And I'm going to start in the middle. So I'm going to center my inner border piece here. Now remember, it's not a full 12 inches, it's 11 and a half. So I'm coming down a quarter from the top and a quarter from the bottom. All right, I'm using my repositionable tape. And now I'm going to place that first one. Remember, this is a 2 inches high. So I am going to look on my map here, and I'm probably going to place it between the 5 inch and the 7 inch. Okay. And then my next one is going to be the top and the bottom. Oops. And I'm just going to move it down just a little bit from the top. I'm going to do the one on the bottom. Move it up just a little bit from the bottom. And look how nice that looks with that colonial edge at the bottom of the whale tail and also on the edge of that inner base paper. And now this one you can center. It's easier to do your middle, then your top and your bottom, and then the two pieces here, then you can play with. If you start at the top and then work your way down, a lot of times you end up having to rearrange everything because somehow it's not totally centered. Okay, so there we go. And like I said, each one is going to be a little different depending on the size of your punch. Okay, and now I'm just going to do it on the side because I can line it up better on my mat. And I'm not bumping my head on the on the camera. There we go. How cute is that? I love it. And of course, you can add any type of title that you want to hear, on there, coastal living, anything that you want. And these will make beautiful borders for a double page layout. Okay, so that is border number one. And a lot of times with my borders, I am using the Power Layouts guides, the white heavy plastic on them. And a lot of times I do that just to put my borders on. I just put a little bit of repo tape. Okay, and then these go in my Power Palette, my Power Project folders along with the collection so that I can see when I'm looking to do that collection. Just like this, I'll put it in the pocket. This is the beach scenes. I'll put it right in here so that when I'm doing that collection, I have those borders stored away in that collection. Okay, so this is this simple pockets. All right, let's do another one with the chain style. Let's see. I have punched some of the garland banner. And this one I'm gonna this one I'll save for the last because that's another piece of paper there. But garland banner, the reason I want to show you this one is because there's a fast way to do this. And it's really easy, and I think you'll like it. Okay, so we want a 3 inch inner base and a 3.5 outside base. And again, the reason I settled on that is because looking at the size of the banners here, if I had anything smaller than the banner itself, the repeat is already at 2.5 inches. So I wanted to play with the banners so that it wasn't all lined up the same way like my whales are. I wanted it to look a little more, a little different. So I'm going to make it just a little bit wider than the repeat on the uh, banner itself. Okay, so the inner base is going to be 3 inches each, but I'm going to show you a fast tip. All right, so it's really 3 inches by I believe I did 11 and a half again for the white. Right, so it's 3 inches by 11 and a half. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this trick here. I'm going to use a 6-inch base, and we're going to put it on our base all together. Actually, I'm using a pale blue just so that you can see the white on here. I'm going to do red, white, and blue. Okay, we're going to use a 6-inch base. Oh, it's already 6 inches. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Oh, it has to be by 11 and a half. So I'm just going to cut a 1/2 inch off the top of this one. All right, and then I'll show you the trick. Okay, so I want this to be red, white, and blue. Again, I'm going to line it up. And I've already punched out my flag banners here. So it's going to be red, red, white, and blue. Okay, red, white, and blue. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some repositionable tape on the back of this, on my banner. All right, and I'm going to go side to side. So the first one, let's say I'm going to start right at, I'm going to go side to side. Okay. The next one, I'm going to move it a little bit. Okay, so I don't have exactly the same repeat. I'm going to move this banner just a little bit. All right, and now this one, because I don't have a, see, I'm going to move it so that it's just a little bit off. And then I'm going to start, I'm going to do my middles. And I'm going to move this one again. So I've placed it so that the two middle ones are just about that 6-inch mark. Okay, so you see what I'm doing is I'm moving the banner so we don't have exactly the same one. If you like to have it exactly the same one, that's fine too. I just wanted to do something a little bit different. Go. I'm going to do red, white, and blue again. And again, just moving the repeat on it so that we're not looking at exactly the same thing. I think I might do a little bit, plan a little bit more space there so I can put a title in there, right in the middle there. Oops. Yeah, so just play with it. This is so fun. I just love doing something that's just a little different. Okay, and then this one's also going to go off to the side. Okay, so you see now what I've done here is I've moved it so that we don't have the same repeat all the way down. All right, much like I did with this one, and this was using the oh gosh, what was the name of that collection? Full of Wonder. Okay, that was Full of Wonder, and Emerald Gemstone put together, believe it or not. So some of our collections work together. Okay, so now you're like, Bev, now what am I doing? I got this crazy looking piece here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put it in my trimmer. I'm going to cut all this off both edges, all my little whiskers. I'm going to cut off. I'm going to put it right on my cut line. Okay. I'm cutting off all my whiskers. And you can use these to do banners on the sides as well. I'm just going to turn it and cut off the whiskers on the other side. They're not whiskers, they're the extra pieces of the banner. And now, guess what I'm going to do? Now I'm going to cut it in half, oops, at the 3-inch mark. So how easy was that? You didn't have to try to match it across. Now I'm just going to cut that at the 3-inch mark. Okay, how fun is that? It totally matches completely. And now you have that banner that goes all the way across, and you have the alternating banner. Okay, and now your outside base is going to be 3.5 by 12 for your outside base. Okay, so 3.5. Oh, and you know what? Maybe I want to do a colonial on that one for the outside, just to pop it up a little bit, make it a little different. 3.5 and 3.5. Okay, how fun was that? That was so easy. All right, and then by the time we put this onto our base, yeah, I love that. Okay, there you go. The exact same banner here. And this is the garland banner. I love this one. It really is so, you can use it for so many other things. And I could put a really nice, a cute little, I can put USA here. These are just some fun. Okay, so it's awfully cute. Okay, now my third border is with the road trip border punch. Let me see, I don't want to lose these. And again, I'm putting these on the power layout guides. This is a very heavy, heavy plastic with just a little bit of repo tape. And then they go in with that collection, like I showed you with the beach scenes, so that I have it all together when I'm ready to work on those collections. Okay, now our next one, my final one, is going to be road trip. Again, another fun one because, and I've already punched these out because I'm using 3 different colors of cars. And then this time, what I'm doing is I'm using 3 different bases as well. So it all depends on the repeat that you have of the cars. Okay, and I have the cars facing in different directions. And if you want to do that, then it's easy to do with cardstock, much easier to do with cardstock than it is to do with something else. So because sometimes if you flip it over, it might be not a pattern that you're looking for. Okay, so I have punched three different colors. All right, and let me just figure out which directions I want these in. I think I kind of want them going. So I have them going in like opposite directions so that I can do a double page spread. This one will probably go on this side or, whatever. It doesn't, so that your cars aren't all going in the same direction. And the red I'll repeat. Okay, so for this one, what I did was I selected this very pale blue. You can use a white if you like. And that is going to be 3 inches. Oh gosh, it's 3 inches by 11. 3 inches by 11. Then my next layer is 3 1/4 by 11 1/2. And then my last layer is 3 1/2 by 12. Okay, so my first 3 by 11, 3 1/4 by 11 1/2, and 3 1/2 by 12. All right, so let's cut those first so that then we can play with that. And then I'm using this piece of paper, designer paper from the Hit the Road pack, and I'm just cutting into these, the roads here and putting them underneath the punch, okay, to make it look like it's on a road. All right, so here we go. First base is 3 inches by 11. This might already be 3. I don't remember. Make sure you go back to your straight blade. That's already 3, and I'm going to make it by 11, so I'm cutting an inch off. Okay, my next layer is 3 1/4. 3 1/4 by 11 1/2. So each little grid on your trimmer is a 1/4 inch. Okay, 3 1/4, and now I'm going to make this 11 1/2. And then my out base is 3 1/2 by 12. Okay, so these are going to go one on top of the other. I'm actually going to put that on there now so I don't lose these. Sometimes you can't find it after you made it. Oh, I might cut that down just a little bit. You know what? I'm just going to take a little bit off the bottom of the black cardstock. Oh, maybe about 1/4 of an inch. There we go. Okay, so now that is my outside base. Okay, so what I did with this is I really wanted, again, my cars to be going in different directions. Now, unfortunately, with this, I wasn't smart enough to start it like I did with that garland and do it together. So I'm going to have to piece these. You see what I mean? Now I got to try to match it up with them close together. Whereas if I had just done it as one complete piece, it would have been a lot easier. Okay, so I'm just going to start using my repositionable tape and taping them all down. So you see I'm actually going up to, I'm lining up my paper because like I said, had I done this before, it would have been a little easier, but it's okay. Now I want the car to go that way. So I'm going this way. And you can actually line it up using your mat. You could see if you've got it even or not. Okay, now I want the car to go that way. And again, I'm varying where it's repeating. So I don't have the car in the same place each time. And I think that just makes it kind of fun. And especially with the cars on this going in different directions. Um, okay, I need to cut some of the red off of here so that I can use some of the red. I want my car to go the other way now. Okay, so you see we're varying where the cars are, and it makes it I think a little more interesting. Okay, and now this one's going the other direction. Awesome. Okay, and now I'm just going to put this in my trimmer and just trim off all those extra pieces right on my cut line. Just like that. Oh, and I have one little piece whisker sticking out of that one, so I'm just going to cut that. Okay, so now what I did here was I added, just for some interest, some of the little strips here from that paper pack. So I'm just going to cut out the road on, and this is where your trimmer is so amazing because you can get so precise on this. See, I can just cut the road out, the road portion out, and make a nice, and then I'll add that to the bottom of all my pieces. Okay, so unfortunately that's not 6 inches, so I may as well just cut this at 3 inches since that's the width that I'm using. And I just need to put that right on my cut line, right like that. Then move it up, get another one on the cut line. Now, if you're not sure where the cut line is, these trimmers have built in at the top and the bottom, nestled under this little blue guide here, there's a little plastic guide, and I use my multi-purpose tool to get it all the time because it's really hidden up under this part of the frame. And I use my multi-purpose tool point, and I go under that little point there, and I take down that plastic guide. And on that plastic guide, there's a little black line, top and bottom. I don't know if you could see it because of the shadow. It tends to shine a little bit. That little black line corresponds right on top of the line that you're cutting. And you can see it lines up to the cut line. And the cut line is the number that's on your mat that's near the word creative memories. Okay, so I happen to need 6 of these, so I'm going to just keep cutting these up. Just line them up to my cut line. And then I'm just going to place them using my repo tape right on my 1, 2, 3, 4. I thought I had, oh, I can't find it now. We'll cut another one. No big deal. But this is cool paper. And sometimes when you look at the paper, this road paper, it's a lot. It's a very distinct pattern. So cutting it up, breaking it up like this, you could really see how much I'm using it. And then you can cut these into like little squares and do a whole pattern across your top or bottom with those. Okay, I think I have 6 now. All right, I'm just going to go put my repo tape on these. And then I'm going to attach it and then attach that border to my base. And there you go. I have all the cars on the roads. and great for a nice trip. Definitely a road trip. Okay. If you haven't done my collection class for Hit the Road, it is on my, you can register on my website, bevdebonodesigns.com, and you will get the PDF with all of the measurements and everything that goes along with it. Okay, so this is the um, road trip. So fun. All right, so I hope you enjoyed our border techniques. Three kind of different borders. One with the chain and how to do it across using your 6 inches. The other with a one that is attached and adding stickers to the bottom, such as whale tails. And then the last one, which is also a chain, but then cutting our paper and adding that as an accent piece. Okay, so tune in again. Hope you liked this technique. I have a lot of videos on my uh, YouTube channel, Bev DeBono Designs, and I usually post a video every week. So please follow me. If you're not currently working with a Creative Memories advisor, I'd appreciate if you'd order from my website. It's posted in the comments. And if you are thinking of becoming a Creative Memories advisor, I'd love to chat with you about it, and you can certainly get that information on my website as well. Thanks a lot, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.